All right, let's dive into something truly amazing. We're going to take a journey into the river of life that's flowing inside every single one of us right now. We're talking about the incredible hidden world inside just one single drop of blood.
I mean, have you ever really thought about it? What's actually flowing through your veins? It might look like just, well, red liquid, but that single drop is an entire universe, a bustling microscopic city, all working around the clock just to keep you going. So what's really in there?
Okay, so take a look at this. Here's the first surprise for most people. Over half of your blood isn't even red. It's this golden liquid called plasma. Wild, right? Then you've got your red blood cells making up almost all of the rest. And then this tiny, tiny slice, less than 1%, is where the white blood cells and platelets hang out. Let's figure out what each of these actually does. So first up, let's talk about the biggest piece of the puzzle, the very foundation of this internal world, plasma. So what is plasma? Well, it's that golden liquid part of your blood making up a whopping 55% of it. And its main job? It's the ultimate delivery service. It's this flowing river that carries everything vital, nutrients from the food you just ate, hormones that are sending messages all over your body, and all kinds of essential proteins. You know, a great way to think about it is like a biological superhighway. It's literally the road that everything else travels on. Without the highway, nothing gets anywhere. All right, so if plasma is the highway, let's meet the first and by far the most common vehicle you'll find on it, the red blood cells. And when I say common, I mean it. These are the absolute workhorses of your blood. To give you an idea of the sheer scale we're talking about, a single drop of your blood contains around 250 million of them. Yeah, you heard that right. They outnumber every other cell by a huge margin. So what do all these millions of cells do? Well, they have one single-minded job: carry oxygen. And they're perfectly designed for it. Inside each one is this special protein called hemoglobin. That's the magic ingredient that grabs onto oxygen and, fun fact, it's also what gives blood that iconic red color. Each one of these little guys works tirelessly, making this delivery run for about 4 months before it gets recycled. Incredible. So let's go back to our superhighway. If plasma is the road, then these are the millions upon millions of oxygen delivery trucks just racing to every single cell in your body to drop off the fuel it needs to create energy. Okay, but any busy highway needs a security force, right? You can't just have all this important cargo moving around without protection. And that's where our next player comes in, the white blood cells. Now, these guys are much rarer. They make up less than 1% of your blood. I mean, for every 600 or so red blood cells, you've only got about one white blood cell. But don't let the numbers fool you. Their role is absolutely critical. And unlike those uniform donut-shaped red cells, white blood cells are these cool, irregularly shaped cells. And for good reason. They're the soldiers of your body, the frontline defenders in your immune system. They are constantly on patrol, hunting down and destroying any invaders they find, like nasty viruses or bacteria. So in our highway analogy, these are the police force. They're always on the lookout for trouble, ready to jump into action and neutralize any threat to keep the whole system safe and running smoothly. But what happens if there's damage to the highway itself? You know, you get a cut or a scrape. Well, that's a job for the emergency repair crew. And that crew is the platelets. Now, these are the smallest of the blood cells, but they have a massive, massive responsibility. And they work incredibly fast. Think about it. The very moment a blood vessel gets damaged, a signal goes out. And bam, platelets rush to the scene. They start sticking to the injury and to each other, clumping together to form a plug, what we call a clot, which is what stops you from bleeding out. It's an amazing, lightning-fast response. So, yeah, they are the highway's dedicated emergency repair crew. They literally create an instant, living bandage right where it's needed, patching up any damage to keep that superhighway intact. So now that we've met all the key players, the highway, the trucks, the police, and the repair crew, let's just zoom out for a second and see how this whole incredible system works together. It really breaks down this nicely. You've got the plasma, which is the highway itself, responsible for transport. You've got the red blood cells, our oxygen trucks. Their job is carrying oxygen. Then there's the white blood cells, the police force, fighting off infection. And finally, the platelets, the repair crew, whose job is to stop any bleeding. But it's not really simple at all, is it? This isn't just chaos, it's a breathtakingly complex and perfectly coordinated system. All of it, the transport, the delivery, the security, the repairs, it's all happening right now, this very second, in every single drop of your blood. It's just mind-blowing. It's a system that most of the time works absolutely flawlessly. But it does leave you with a really interesting question, doesn't it? With so much traffic and so many moving parts, what happens when something goes wrong? What happens when there's a traffic jam on this biological superhighway? Now that's something to think about.